Farmington. Twelve minutes past 8 o'clock. It is Monday morning, the 24th day of July, 2023. Good morning, everyone. I'm Scott Michlin. Thanks for tuning in to KSJE 90.9 FM over the air, of course, here in San Juan County, 103.3 FM over the air in Durango, Colorado, and, of course, streaming everywhere else on Earth from our website, KSJE.com. Welcome also to our viewers who are watching this visual radio program this morning. The video is streaming out to the KSJE YouTube channel right now. It'll appear on Facebook a little bit later on this morning, so we thank you for joining us as well, everybody. Coming up in the next few moments, my guest on the program today, we'll be talking with Alexander Chambers. He is running for mayor of Farmington in the elections coming up this fall. We'll hear what he has to say about his campaign and his vision for the future of Farmington and much, much more. Coming up in the next few moments right here on KSJE. Then at 8:50 a.m., we'll be checking in with Lewis Campbell. It's our Monday Reboot section when we talk about technology. That's coming up today right here at 8:50 on KSJE. Next hour, of course, Mick Hess is going to be here roving with the arts. He's going to be playing some music from Claude Bowling. You'll hear that beginning at 9:06 on KSJE. And then we interrupt our regular programming because, of course, KSJE is the radio home of the Connie Mack World Series. Day 2 of bracket play begins today. First game at 10 a.m. this morning. Pregame will start about 9:30. 1 o'clock game, 5:15 and 7:30 p.m. games. And, of course, tonight at 7:30, the host team, the 505 Panthers, will be taking the field for the first time in bracket play. Don't forget, we invite you to connect with us on our Instagram page in addition to Facebook and YouTube and also on Twitter. And if you're a podcast person, well, you can find KSJE podcasts wherever you're probably already listening to podcasts, places like iTunes and Spotify and iHeartRadio, Google Podcasts, and Pandora. The list goes on and on. We invite you to search for KSJE and subscribe wherever you're already listening to podcasts. Outside our studios here at San Juan College, it is currently mostly sunny on this Monday morning, 73 degrees already. Sunshine and hot weather is the story for the rest of this week, I'm afraid. Take a look. 99 for a high today in Farmington, 100 for a high tomorrow, 99 on Wednesday, 98 on Thursday, 97 on Friday. But take a look maybe next week, Sunday. The temps break and maybe a high of only 90 for next week and 91 on next Monday. We'll see if that holds true. Overnight lows, as they have been, in the mid to upper 60s. We're going to take a short break for our recap from Coach Kirk Carpenter from last night's Connie Mack World Series. Back with my guest in just a moment. This is KSJE.
It's a Connie Mack World Series recap with Coach Carp. Well, pool play's done, and it's time now for bracket play in the 2023 Connie Mack World Series. Game number 1 featured the Dallas Tigers and the NOLA Cardinals from Louisiana. Dallas jumped out to an early 1-run lead in the first. They had an opportunity to add more, but NOLA played some great defense and shut down the offensive threat. There were some early hits by both teams in the game, but it turned into a pitching duel. It was a 1-run game until the bottom of the 4th when NOLA tied it up. Dallas would add 1 run in the top of the 5th, and that's all they would need in this thriller as the Dallas Tigers take Game 1 from NOLA by a score of 2-1. So we go to Game 2, and it featured a team that's been here more than any other team in the history of the Connie Mack World Series, the Midland Redskins, and a brand new team making their first trip to Farmington, the Tulsa Sandlot Club from Oklahoma. Another pitcher's duel in this one, to say the least. In fact, it took us 9 innings to determine a winner in this contest. In the first inning, Tulsa Sandlot scored 1 run, again having opportunity maybe to do more, but great defense stopped the threat. It was a great defensive game by both clubs. In the 5th inning, offensively, the Midland Redskins tied it up with a solo home run. But it took 9 to determine a winner in this great game number 2 of the 2023 Connie Mack World Series. In the 9th inning, man on second base, a single that just gets past a diving second baseman of the Midland Redskins, goes into the right field off the bat of Tabor Stokes, and the Tulsa Sandlot team makes their first trip to Farmington, went 0-3 in pool play, and defeats the defending champions of Midland Redskins in game number 2 by a score of 2-1. The story in this game is not only the score, but the pitching performances that happened in this game. There were 28 strikeouts recorded by pitchers on both sides of the diamond. There were 11 strikeouts recorded by the Midland Redskins. But the storyline in this one goes to the starting pitcher of the Tulsa Sandlot Ball Club. Brady Hamilton had as many strikeouts as the whole Midland pitching staff. And when you do that against a club like Midland, you have a chance to win. So game 2, 2-1, game 1, 2-1. If that's anything that's yet to come in the Connie Mack World Series, fans, you're in for a treat. So this is what it sets up. The Dallas Tigers won their game. They move on and play at 1 o'clock on Tuesday against Tulsa. Again, both teams winning by a score of 2-1. As we go down to the bottom part of the bracket, NOLA will play at 10 o'clock against the Midland Redskins on Tuesday. Games tomorrow, we still have 4 left in the first round, and the bracket looks this way. At 10 o'clock, it'll be ABA taking on the Colton Nighthawks. DBAT United will play Mississauga, a Canada team. First time in 13 years we've had a Canada team back here. They'll play them at 1 o'clock. Dolan Dodgers will play at 5:15 against the other Oklahoma team. Only 3 times have Oklahoma teams qualified for the Connie Mack World Series, and this year we have 2. And finally, tomorrow night, it's the Southern Cal Renegades taking on the host 505 team. So great baseball already here at Ricketts Park. We hope you can come out and enjoy every pitch, but if not, you can hear it right here on KSJE Sports. This has been a Connie Mack World Series recap by Coach Carpenter.
Thank you, Coach. We're back here in Studio A this morning, and good morning, everyone. My guest here on the program is Farmington mayoral candidate Alexander Chambers is here. Mr. Chambers, welcome to KSJE. Thank you for coming in this morning.
Yes, thanks for having me, Scott.
You bet. It's great to have you here. And for folks maybe who don't know, you are a business owner here in Farmington. You own a local steakhouse by the same name, Chambers Steakhouse, right? Yes. And how long have you been operating that restaurant?
We are going on to year 4. Originally started in Bloomfield, and we moved here to Farmington, just sort of, better opportunities, and so that's where we're at.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
Very good. And that means you had to deal with some pandemic-related business challenges, I would imagine?
Yeah.
And came out of that doing all right. You're still in business.
Yes.
Doors still open, so
Yes.
That's good.
Yeah.
And you have decided to run for mayor, and so that's the reason that I wanted to have you on the program to talk a bit about that decision and about your campaign. So tell me how the decision came about to throw your hat into the ring.
First of all, I think Farmington is in decline. We're facing a very challenging time, and I think that it's time that we move this city in a different direction, where we are seeing economic growth, slower than faster. And in order to get there, we have to think bigger and pursue things that are way much bigger than we are. I think right now we are underestimating what it's going to take to grow a city, not of the current population of a little over 45,000, 50,000, but more or less 300,000 people. How do we serve them? And so we have to take this city in a different direction that is going to accommodate that. And right now we're really just, I believe, really not doing anything economic-wise that is really moving this city in a direction that it needs to go.
Got it. And so can I ask for some specifics then? First, let's take your statement that the city's in decline. What makes you say that? What are some of the things that you're seeing that makes you say that?
Well, it's both through my personal experience, what I see, and recently there's news articles out there that says Farmington has become more poor. And as a business owner, as an entrepreneur, that is very disheartening for me to see. That should not be the case. That is not a title a community wants to hold, let alone a sitting government entity. Because number one, in order for us to talk about diversifying our economy, being listed as a poor city is very unattractive to potential investors, potential companies who want to come here to build the next biggest enterprise or to move their headquarters here and create jobs. So being listed as a poor city is just, it doesn't sit well with, American corporations.
Sure.
They want to go to a city that is growing, that is vibrant, that is active. And so I think that, just being listed as a poor city is a very, it's a bad move, and we need to change that.
Right. Understood. And so with your ideas, then, what would you like to see happen? Obviously, the city can't start doling out money to residents to make us all richer to get off of that list. So there's got to be something else to maybe plan for.
Right. So, I'm not promoting socialism, number one. The government should not be in the business to providing for anybody, number one. Number two, the government, the city, can actually go out and secure funds through municipal bonds. I don't know what the city looks like with its investments. I think they should really, diversify those investments to see what, where we can get. But there's, Scott, right now there's over $2 trillion in circulations in the United States. We need to get us some of that money. And I think that if you simply just start these negotiations with the federal government, with the state, with public and private partnerships, you can actually secure billions of dollars. And I think that, I'm not trying to reinvent the wheel here. This is being done in every city in America. America was built on bonds. America was built on diversified economies. And so, I think that we just need to look at what's going to work and apply those concepts and put Farmington to work. That's really my goal.
Right.
Yeah.
We see, though, that unemployment is at pretty low levels, even in Farmington. And traditionally, our community has had one of the higher unemployment rates in the state compared to other locations. But even statewide, even nationwide, it seems like today unemployment is fairly low. So it seems like anyone who wants a job should be able to find a job. Is your concern just the wages are too low?
No, I think it's a little bit of both. I think, it should be even lower than it is.
Unemployment.
Unemployment. Number one. Number two, I talk to people here in the community. Why is it that a lot of people here in Farmington can't find a job? Number one. And why are people moving away from Farmington? And, for example, I've talked to a person who is a dental hygienist, moved here 20 years ago, and is moving back to her home state, to Las Vegas, because, number one, wages gone down. They're letting her go because, they're just, retreating. And so, that may be the case, that the unemployment numbers are lower. But word in the street, if you talk to our average community members here in Farmington, that is not the case. They can't find a job.
Still a challenge.
It's still
for them.
It is still a challenge. I mean, majority of the folks that I talk to anyway say it's still a challenge, and so we got to fix that. That's there are two different things. Yes, the statistics, the fuzzy numbers, so to speak, may say that, but if you talk to the American people here in Farmington, that is not the case.
Gotcha. Well, and you own a business. Are
Yes.
you fully staffed at the steakhouse?
So it's up and down. It's a challenge sometimes, but we are pulling through. It's a very challenging time right now to find somebody that is really qualified to run a commercial kitchen. I'm finding more. There's a handful of folks here in Farmington who are recycling through the restaurant industry. And so I think that's happening for several reasons. That whether it's a restaurant that caters to certain areas, so we really have to figure out where can we patch some of these gaps up and fix that. But yeah, we're having no problems hiring.
Good to know.
Yeah.
You mentioned too the economy and diversifying the economy.
Yes.
Certainly, we've seen, I think, a shift away from the traditional maybe oil, gas, and coal industries, either by choice or not by choice. Is that the right direction to be moving away from some of these extractive industries, or is that a concern for you in the direction that the city is heading?
Well, when I say diversify the economy, let me just be clear on one thing. So in order to do that, number one, we have to get Farmington off, the poor list. I want to build wealth for Farmington. Mm-hmm. We should be one of the fastest growing cities in America. That's the list we need to be on. Number one. Number two, we have to look at more opportunities like in manufacturing. And let me just put this out there as well. I think Farmington should explore options for a nuclear power plant. And I think that, states like Philadelphia, Michigan, New York, Phoenix, Arizona, our neighboring state over here, the Palo Verde nuclear generating station, they have successfully powered a nuclear power plant for over 30 years that serves billions of people. And so I think if we pursue something that big, we are broadening our perspective on this. We are going something after that to the average American is not possible. It's not accomplishable. But as an entrepreneur, as a business person myself, I believe that you can achieve anything if you put your mind to it. And as a community, we need to put our mind to it and we need to go after it. And so I believe that something that big, we can certainly create a lot of jobs at once.
That's a bold statement, I think, to promote nuclear power. I think there are some advocates that would say it is safe, it is reliable, and that's what we hear from a lot of folks, especially with hot weather. The power grid is under a lot of strain, but it provides a lot of power, as you mentioned, in the Arizona area as well. But a lot of folks would be concerned about the environmental impacts that come with a potential nuclear power plant. What would you say to them?
Well, like I said, the Palo Verde nuclear power plant in Phoenix has been running successfully, for 30 years. And there hasn't been any kind of environmental spills, environmental challenges there. I think that we need to look at what's successful. And so if elected as mayor, I would certainly entertain the idea of looking at Palo Verde and maybe even visiting and see what are they doing successful that we can apply to our idea and really start doing these feasibility studies to really look at these things. And this goes along to being transparent and more open with our community members. Certainly, I'm not just going to introduce anything and just, bottleneck it into the mayor's office or through the city. I think having that transparent process, taking this idea to members of Farmington, the community, the city council, and let us all discuss these ideas and how we can all work together and make this happen through town halls, public hearings, and making this process very transparent. Yeah.
Got it. Still a role for oil and gas in the economy, you think, going forward?
I think there is. I really do. And there, for every business sector in Farmington, there are many opportunities. I think what we have done is put ourselves in a box, an imaginary box. We just need to expand. All I'm saying is we need to think bigger. We need to broaden where we are. We have the entire world to serve. There's over 8 billion people on this planet. Why can't Farmington serve 8 billion people and take care of our community here in Farmington? Yeah.
Got it. There's a project underway that being talked about, feasibility studies about this rail line.
Yeah.
You've no doubt heard about it, to link the Farmington area, maybe not just the city itself, but the region, to the I-40 rail corridor. That seems to be maybe a long-planned economic development project. How do you feel about that? Is that a good thing, a bad thing? It's an expensive thing.
Well, anything we're going to do is going to be expensive. Buying a new car is expensive. Buying a new pair of shoes can be expensive. But in order to achieve greatness with the city, we need to do bigger and better things. With the rail line, I think, having that alliance, working with other cities, like, for example, tribal governments working with other states, and really talking about how can we make this work. So that goes along with building that alliance, and I think it is a good idea, but we need to explore how is this going to work. It's a nice concept. For example, if we're going to build a traditional railroad for commerce, why can't we build an electric, bullet train? There's a bullet train in Tokyo, Japan, that transports citizens, international trade throughout their country. And again, a lot of these ideas that I'm talking about are not something new. This is happening throughout the world in other cities. They have rail lines, electric rail lines. And so, I'm not trying to reinvent the wheel here. I'm just applying concepts that are already successful for other cities and other communities that I think that we should pursue and do. And that's what I'm talking about, going after, bold ideas and really changing the direction of this city to go, just think a little bigger and taking us there.
Right.
Yeah.
You mentioned manufacturing as well.
Yeah.
Is there anything that you think that the city has a labor pool to be able to host, to build things here and manufacture things here?
Yeah. So, for example, America at the beginning of time built steel. Why can't Farmington, why can't we build a big manufacturing plant to become the biggest steel maker in America? That could sell locally, that could sell nationally, that could sell internationally. We have a lot of rich resources here in Farmington and throughout the area. Why can't we make our own steel? And so that's just one example of the many things that we could do for
Right.
Farmington.
Right. Understood.
Yeah.
And so talk to me a little bit about kind of the way that the city seems to have been changing its economy a little bit, the outdoor recreation,
Right.
the effects that we see, some of the city's projects, most recently the Bistai Bay, the improvements out at Lake Farmington and things like that to kind of appeal to the outdoor enthusiast. Is that the right direction, do you think, or do you have other ideas?
Well, I think it is the right direction. But we need to make it better. Maybe adding more entertainment to Farmington. But again, I'm not saying we should position Farmington, the city, to create these jobs, to create these opportunities. I'm just saying, let us facilitate a roadmap for businesses to come here and create these opportunities. These are all great ideas. I think that the city means well. When they want to create outdoor recreation, but we need to expand that just a little bit more. And so, for example, the river rafting by Animas River, I know the guy who owns that, and he expressed that a little bit more just needs to be done to expand that. And so, I would like to really just explore other services, maybe other products for outdoor recreation that symbiotically tie into what we're doing already and expand that. So. Yeah, I think it's a good idea.
Gotcha. And the way that has worked, I guess, to try to have some city investment and then have private companies like Animas River Guides and things like that to be able to take advantage of some of that city infrastructure. Does that seem like a workable way to maybe grow private investment in a community?
Yeah, so, the city, like I said, I don't know what the city investment portfolio looks like. I don't know what kind of assets they have. And so, I think we can secure billions of dollars. And I've mentioned this before that, I have a $1.5 billion economic package for Farmington. That is a big number, yes, with the B. But I'm telling you that it can be done, and it will be done. And I think a lot of times we give excuses, and this is the little box I'm talking about, we have put farming into. We have a lot of potential. We have a lot of opportunity. And so securing investments, getting the money is not going to be hard. It is simply a matter of making these negotiations happen and being a very active leader in your community, being very vocal. And we got to have, the mayor's office has to show force to the United States of America and say, hey, we are open for business. We are ready to take on these challenges. And this is where I'm talking about, where we're going to position ourselves as the leader in Farmington. We should not be talking outside the White House, outside the black gates. We should be inside talking to the President of the United States, expressing these concerns and making it very clear what is our intent and where we want to go. And I would certainly do that with the state of New Mexico governors and other governors, our partners in Arizona, Utah, and Colorado. We need to start working with these people so that we can get Farmington in a direction where it needs to go.
Understood. Yeah. And a couple final questions in our final minutes here together. Mr. Chambers, about your campaign. You are running against an incumbent.
Yes.
And is this your first political campaign?
Yes, it is.
And so how do you feel about running up against an incumbent? Any thoughts about that? I know you said you want to have a positive campaign between the two men.
Yeah. Well, I certainly appreciate what Mayor Nate Duckett has done to this point. I think he means well for the city. Any leader faced with the challenge, certainly, there's going to be some backlash on that. But I do have to say one thing. We had 4 years. We had 4 or 5 years to get these things done. We certainly need to flex our muscle a little bit more and just sort of broaden that area. I'm coming from the private sector as a private business owner. And so when you get that perspective behind the scenes as a private business owner, you just see things, you see the economy a little different than the regular person. I'm very concerned for our community. We had 4 years to get these things done. I'm just, I think that if we continue on in this direction, Farmington will just become more or less a small town. We won't become the leader in the United States of America. I believe that America was founded on that, that very foundation. Cities like Farmington are the fabric of this nation. And so it is time we start acting like it. It is time that we strengthen up and really go after these things and take the city in a direction I think really needs to go. It's a challenge, but it can be done. It can be done.
All right.
Yep.
Mr. Chambers, if folks would like to find out more about you and your campaign, I know you've got a Facebook page and a website and things like that. How can they find out more about you and what you stand for?
So if you go to mayorchambers.com, that's mayorchambers.com, you'll see I have a very specific plan. It's a razor sharp plan. I'm not giving talking points. I'm not giving platitudes. It's a very specific plan. And that is why I'm very accurate with my numbers. And so these plans are frameworks. These plans are that you can see what we will apply to the city. And so you can check that out there. You can also look me up at Alexander Chambers through Facebook. So,
very good, sir.
Yep.
Thank you for joining me this morning. I really appreciate it. Good luck with your campaign.
Thank you.
You're very welcome.
Yep.
Alexander Chambers, he is running for mayor of Farmington, my guest here on KSJE.
Yep.
KSJE is supported by San Juan Regional Medical Center. The most important ingredients to sustaining health and wellness are the resources and tools that help you live a vibrant and healthy life. At San Juan Regional Medical Center, the goal is to promote health by making sure those resources are available. Find the path to the best life at lifebetterhere.com. San Juan Regional Medical Center. Better is our mission, improving lives through personalized health and care. KSJE is supported by Music in the Mountains, a world-class classical music festival based in Durango, Colorado, offering orchestra, chamber, and world music concerts from July 6th through July 30th. This year, the concerts come to you with free mobile stage performances in the region, plus other unique venues throughout the area. Find out more at musicinthemountains.com. KSJE is supported by the San Juan Symphony, presenting classical music concerts in Farmington and Durango. The San Juan Symphony reminds you that current season ticket holders can renew their seats until July 31st. New season ticket sales will begin on August 8th. Tickets for the general public for the 38th season of the San Juan Symphony, New Horizons, begin on September 5th. Find out more at sanjuansymphony.org.